Legoland California, and this may be a bold claim, has a strong case as the best park for kids in California. I much prefer Disneyland. However, there are several things Legoland does to make it more digestible for kids. But anyone can appreciate this park if you like good theming. I'll explain why in this review. Legoland Billund opened back in 1968. This park is one of the top tourist destinations in Denmark, and it has been a massive success. The first attempt to expand the brand wasn't too successful. Legoland Sierksdorf opened in 1973, but it closed after just a few years and now it operates as Hansa Park. Lego's attempts to expand the brand in the 1990s were far more successful. First was Legoland Windsor in 1996. Second was Legoland California in 1999. These two parks have expanded into full-fledged resorts, and their success has led to additional Legoland parks being built. You have two others in the US in Legoland Florida and Legoland New York, but both of those are on the East Coast, many miles from the California location. In total, there are now 10 in operation, plus 4 more currently under construction. It is also worth knowing the chain is now owned by Merlin, and I have only visited the park since they took over. But back to Legoland California. This park is located in Carlsbad. This is roughly 90 miles south of Los Angeles and 30 miles north of San Diego. Placing in the middle of SoCal's larger theme parks, the town is right by the water, and there are plenty of hotels capitalizing on this. You have a mix of budget-friendly options and more high-end hotels. Legoland themselves operate 2 hotels adjacent to the main entrance, so you cannot beat that location. The Castle Hotel is a medieval theme, whereas the Legoland Resort Hotel is a colorful exterior and different rooms themed to popular Lego brands. Now it is pricey though. In peak season, I have seen these hotels cost well over $600, and that's without any tickets. But if you visit during the off-season, I have seen these as low as $200. At the lower rate, I think they're well worth it between the theming and convenience. And the best perk of all is that you get a half-hour of early entry into Explorer Island and Ninjago World. Another hotel worth considering is the Sheraton Carlsbad, which has an exclusive side entrance into Legoland. This one routinely costs $300 to $400 year-round, so it's pricey as well, but is cheaper than the Legoland hotels in peak season. Speaking of cost, you'll have to pay quite a bit to enter Legoland. This is one of the priciest theme parks out there. Day tickets cost $90 online, or a whopping $120 at the gate. This at least includes Legoland itself, the attached water park, and the adjacent Sea Life Aquarium. And that's not the only fee you'll encounter. You'll also need to pay $30 to park. The lot isn't too long of a walk from the main entrance at least. It is also worth knowing this park offers a shopping pass. You still need to pay for parking, but you get a special ticket. You only have 1 hour in the park, and you must spend at least $25 in retail items. Failure to do either of these things will result in you having to pay for a full day's admission. While I know most people use this for the intended purpose of shopping, I know several enthusiasts that have used this to get the park's coaster credits as cheaply and quickly as possible. Since most of the coasters are in the front half of the park, it is possible to ride them all in less than an hour if you visit on a quiet day. While this pads your coaster count, I think you are doing yourself a major disservice seeing Legoland in this manner. This park's biggest strength are the theming and dark rides, and you do not have time to appreciate this if you rush through the park. I love the look of Legoland. If you have been to any of the other Legolands, you'll know what to expect. The park is very stylistic. You have bright and colorful architecture. All of the rides, buildings, and displays look like they are made with Lego bricks. And the park also features a variety of themed lands. It's a much bigger park than you'd expect, but the pathways form a giant loop. Each area has its own distinct style to it. You have unique sights and thematic music. Going clockwise, Explorer Island is the expedition area filled with dinosaurs and animals. Lego Movie World is the newest land. Themed to the popular movie franchise, it is a bombastic area featuring the characters from the film. Funtown is a city. You have buildings and different modes of transportation giving the area a lot of energy. Pirate Shores features the usual swashbuckling theming and, fittingly, a handful of water rides. You then hit the deep sea adventure area, although it's really just one ride, albeit a good-looking one. Castle Hill is a medieval section of the park, and this of course includes a big castle that doubles as the dragon's entrance. Land of Adventure is an Egyptian-themed area with a sandy color palette. Imagination Zone is about building, so rides here are themed to popular toy lines. Ninjago World is a ninja-themed area, and the focal point is the big dojo serving as the show building for the area's dark ride. Last but not least, you have Miniland USA. This is arguably the most visually stunning area of the park. Why? Everything you see here is an actual Lego model made by a master builder. I cannot imagine how much time went into each of these displays. The amount of detail is stunning. You have big buildings and full landscapes with all these little details. It's fun to identify all the different landmarks, especially if you've been there. And each scene has some moving parts too, to add a degree of liveliness to the model. My favorite area here has to be Las Vegas. You can actually walk down the strip, having the famous casinos on both sides of you. Then you even have the Big Shot amusement ride atop the Stratosphere Tower. This is supposed to move when guests press a button, but was not working in early 2023. This unfortunately was an issue with several displays, so I hope that can be resolved in the future. Along with all these themed areas, the park also does landscaping really well. The park is a central lagoon offering some nice sight lines as you'll go over the park. Then you have nice use of trees, rocks, and planters as you move from land to land. This is an underrated element of the park. Making the overall atmosphere even better are the staff members. One of the biggest things I look for in a children's park is lively and friendly staff. Legoland most certainly has that. Staff members have that beautiful balance of excitedly greeting guests while also being able to comfort kids having a breakdown. They are also efficient. The Legoland parks are not known for having the best throughputs, but they're pretty good at the California resort. Dark rides have plenty of vehicles on the course, so lines are constantly moving there. Then the adult coasters have always had multiple trains on the circuit, even in the quieter periods. Lines can vary mightily by day. This park is open year-round. If you visit during an off-peak weekday, specifically when schools are still in session, crowds will be minimal. Most rides should be a walk-on then. Expect heavier crowds on weekdays when schools are out, or on weekends year-round. I have never visited this park on a day like this, but I know a handful of rides can routinely pull hour-long waits. This includes Emmett's Flying Adventure, Ninjago the Ride, Coastersaurus, and Safari Trek. All four of these rides are located towards the front of the park, and the latter three are included with early entry, meaning they may build a queue even before regular guests can enter the park. On the bright side, you will get longer operating hours in peak season. During these times, the park opens as early as 9:30 a.m. and stays open as late as 8 p.m. Meanwhile, the park can have hours as limited as 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the quieter periods. So how should you tackle this park on a busy day? If you have early entry, take full advantage of it. Save Fairy Tale Brook for later in the day because it rarely has a wait. Instead, knock out the other three rides. I would do Safari Trek and Coastersaurus before Ninjago because they have lower throughputs. If you don't have early entry, I would save these rides for the afternoon after people start to make their way further back into the park. If you want to see everything this park has to offer, I strongly recommend everyone starting with Emmett's Flying Adventure once opening hits. This flying theater often has the longest line in the park between its popularity and throughput. I would then continue making a clockwise loop around the park, hitting anything you want to experience. These rides should have minimal waits at this point as people are busy queuing for those in the front half of the park. You will likely hit some lines once you reach the medieval section of the park, but you will have a great start to your day at least. If you're trying to ride all three coasters in as little time as possible, I would instead start with Coastersaurus if, and this is a big if, the line didn't get too long during early entry. Then you should be able to get on Technic Coaster and Dragon Coaster with minimal waits too. Several rides with lengthier queues offer building areas to keep kids entertained while the parents hold their place in line. This is an ingenious way to make the time pass quicker for the younger ones. If you want to avoid lines altogether, the park does offer a skip the line pass called Reserve and Ride. The prices vary by tier and day, but it can cost as little as $35 or as much as $135. Ultimate costs the most, but reduces your wait by 90% and has no restrictions on re-rides. The lower tiers reduce your wait by less and restrict you to one time only on some of the more popular rides like the Flying Theater. Some of the other Legoland parks offer single shots for select rides, but I have not seen this option available at the California location. Like many year-round parks, Legoland does list their ride closures on the website. However, it only lists the current closures, not future ones. So if you're planning a trip in advance, especially in the quieter months, you may find a few of them closed. Expect this to happen for the water rides in winter months, but you may also find another big ride or two closed for their annual refurb, but there's no way to know in advance. Another important operational note is that Legoland allows guests to bring all their loose articles with them into line. Many rides will have you bring your bags with you onto the vehicle itself, but the more extreme rides will have you stow them off to the side. With all that out of the way, let's delve into the ride lineup. This park has a deep collection of rides suitable for all ages. Just don't expect any thrill rides, at least not anymore. From 2005 to 2019, the park was home to Knight's Tournament. This was a series of KUKA robotic arms. Guests could select their thrill level. The highest setting was about 60 seconds of pure mayhem. You would flip upside down at least a dozen times as the arm tossed you around like a rag doll. I absolutely loved this ride, and you can still experience this type of ride at the Billund Park where it's now known as Ice Pilot School. I would love to see this park add another more thrilling ride in the future, especially something along the lines of what we see going into their European parks. Heck, the Legoland in Germany just added a B&M wing coaster this year. The California property currently has 3 coasters. The best of the bunch is the Dragon Coaster. This is a Vekoma Jr. coaster that starts off with a fun dark ride segment. You pass some medieval scenes and eventually a giant dragon. Then you head outdoors for a coaster section. It's mostly a mild experience, but a few of the turns offer a pinch of force, and it is thankfully smooth. See my review for more, but the dark ride section at the start is the highlight for me. Technic Coaster is the park's most daring coaster. This is a mock Wild Mouse, but it's not the usual layout. This one starts with a sizable and zippy 5-story plunge. This is the main reason I'll take a spin on this coaster. Then you go into a series of high hairpin turns and dips. However, this one is braked pretty harshly. This eliminates the sharp laterals this type of ride is known for. Likewise, it also prevents any airtime in the second half. But as I noted in my review, this design choice does make the ride more comfortable and approachable for kids, so I get why it was done. Coaster Source is a Gerstlauer kiddie coaster that supposedly has a sneaky good pop of airtime in the first drop in the back row. However, this credit has eluded me. The line was too long my first trip to the park. Then my return visit, the ride was down for annual maintenance. While on that note, the park doesn't have too many traditional kiddie rides exclusive to kids. You'll find some, but the park prefers to build things that families can comfortably ride together. One that kids should not miss is the Driving School. This is a cute attraction where kids drive their own car through a mock roadway. It offers far more control than your standard antique car ride because you don't have a guide rail limiting your movement. Compare that to Safari Trek. This is a track-guided car ride. It is short, but has a lushly landscaped course. And you pass some static animal figures. I wish they had some movement to them, but there are some audio effects at least. One car ride not to miss is the Police and Fire Academy. This is a Legoland staple. This is a unique attraction where teams race to put out a fire. You board a vehicle and use pumps like a mine car to move. Then you exit the vehicle. Some riders pump the water, while others use a hose to aim at the targets. The others let you immediately get back in your vehicle and race to the finish line, fueling everyone's competitive nature. But this particular installation holds you until everyone puts out their fire. This park also has some notable boat rides. Skipper School lets guests pilot their own boat. It's a rarer experience than your standard car ride. I wish there was a bit more to see along the course, but the driving mechanic alone makes kids very excited to try this. Coast Cruise is a fantastic way to see Miniland. You leisurely float past several scenes. In addition, you have a guide who provides narration. At some points, they're informative. At other points, they'll crack a corny joke like you may be used to on Disney's Jungle Cruise. Just be warned, this ride's zero shade, so it's blazing hot on summer days. Fairy Tale Brook passes a series of scenes from famous fairy tales. They are cute, and unlike Safari Trek, some figures move to make the sets more impressive. This ride feels like a dark ride, just placed outdoors. Speaking of dark rides, this park has a handful of them. The best of the bunch, and my favorite attraction of the park, is Ninjago the Ride. This is a unique take on a shooting dark ride. You use your hands to fire projectiles at a series of 3D screens. There is a learning curve here, so make sure not to change elevation too much or your shot will not register. But once you get it down, it's a ton of fun. You'll feel like a superhero, and the smaller vehicles make it easy to keep track of what you're firing at. Lost Kingdom Adventure is a more traditional Sally shooting dark ride. This one is a series of physical targets, and they're easy to hit with the laser sights. A lot of the props are 2D, but there are some 3D ones mixed in which look great. This ride does a good job leaning into the Egyptian theme, and there are plenty of targets to hit. Most were operational, and many of them trigger animations after being hit. I love when shooters do that. Deep Sea Adventure is a submarine ride. You pass through an aquarium filled with real fish. There are countless species swimming all about your vehicle. Then you also have some Lego statues mixed in. The ride also has an interactive element where you're supposed to interact with a monitor going on a scavenger hunt of sorts, but I prefer just to focus on the sights. Then you have Emmett's Flying Adventure. Flying theaters usually take you past famous landmarks at a slow and leisurely rate. This one does something way different. It is a chaotic and zany adventure through colorful, busy, and animated environments. It is sensory overload. The thrill level is comparable to the other flying theaters though, and the motion is well synchronized, and it is nice having a change of pace of sorts on this type of ride. You also have some walkthroughs, particularly in one corner of Funtown. There, you'll find both the LEGO Factory Tour and the Adventurers Club. These are fun things to see, especially since they'll never have a line, but they're not a must if you're pressed for time. Moving on to flat rides, Legoland doesn't have too many to offer. The most popular is probably Kid Power Tower, a unique drop tower where riders pull themselves to the top, and its placement on a hill offers the best views of the park. Then you have Bionicle Blaster. This is a teacup style ride, but unfortunately it is near impossible to spin. Now it can get hot in California, so the park wisely has some water rides. Towards the back, you'll find a nicely themed splash battle, plus a miniature shoot-the-chutes named Pirate Reef. Both will get you absolutely soaked. One ride that was unfortunately removed in recent years was the AquaZone Wave Racers. This felt like a water-based whip as you'd skim across the surface trying to avoid water bombs. Along with the attractions in the main park, you also have the attached LEGO Water Park. This has never been open when I visited the park, but it appears to have some smaller slides and creative spray features too. You also find plenty of playgrounds and play areas throughout the park. You'll typically find at least one in each section of the park. These are great ways for kids to burn off energy in between attractions and also give parents a chance to sit back and relax. Then the park offers some shows too. There's a 4D theater show offering a variety of films, plus some live entertainment. I haven't seen the latter though, so I cannot speak to their quality. Moving on to the food, I haven't gotten anything to eat at Legoland California specifically. However, I have eaten at some of the other Legoland parks, and the food offerings appear to be very similar. The most famous option here are the apple fries. If you don't know me, I hate sweets, and these are far too sweet for my taste buds, but most people love them. Then my favorite dining option here is the pizza and pasta buffet. You have quantity and decent quality here. Food prices are a bit higher than your average theme park though. Lastly, I want to touch on shopping. You have the big shop at the front of the park with Lego models as far as the eye can see. There's a neat coaster model in there, plus all the brands the company is known for. Then you can also find some smaller gift shops in the different areas of the park selling themed merchandise related to the area. So do I recommend Legoland California? I think it depends on your interests. If you're a family with young kids, absolutely. This place excels for that demographic. There is plenty to fill an entire day between exploring the colorful, fanciful lands and trying all the attractions. I also think the park is more digestible for younger kids than Disneyland. You have the lower crowds, plus creative ways for kids to stay entertained in between attractions, whether it be a building area in the queue or the occasional playground. If you're an older guest who appreciates theming, you can probably spend a half day here seeing all the lands and trying the themed attractions. That's how I typically experience this park. But I definitely prioritize the other parks in Southern California over this one. The larger ones have better thrill rides, and then Disney and Universal beat this park in the theming department. If you're exclusively a thrill seeker, this park probably isn't for you, especially given the price. But there is that shopping pass if you quite literally want to rush through the coaster credits in less than 60 minutes. Compared to the other Legoland locations, I still think Billund is the best one because it has similar atmosphere and theming, while also mixing in some more thrilling rides. But this one is neck and neck with New York for the best Legoland in the US. New York may have the slightly better ride lineup, but California looks better between the themed areas and landscaping. So those are my thoughts on Legoland California, the kid-friendly theme park in Carlsbad, California. What are your thoughts on this park? Whether it be the rides, theming, or anything else, let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.